Algebra 1 Fall Review. This is the second day of review and you are watching the video in Edpuzzle. The way that this is going to work is I'm going to do the first problem for you guys and you are going to do the second and third problems or however many more problems in Edpuzzle. Alright? First things first, topic 1, domain and range from a graph. We are looking at domain and range here. Let's remember that domain is talking about x values and y is talking about range values. That's true for all of these, right? Domain are x values, range is y values. So in this first one, because we have a line, and this is a continuous graph, we are going to talk about our points as a range values from this to this. Personally, I think it's a really great strategy to draw a rectangle around your graph or figure, whatever you're looking at, just so you can really see those boundaries. So since it's domain, we're looking at our x's. We're looking from the left all the way to the right. Okay, from the left to the right. So I'm going from -2 all the way over here to 4. And since it's domain, I'm talking about my x's. Now let's remember that these symbols right here, when they're open circles, we use a less than sign. Alright, so that's what I would write for my domain, because I have open circles at both points. Now let's talk about my range. My range is going from the bottom to the top, the lowest to the highest points in the figure. So we're going to go from when y is 2 to when y is 4. Alright, and again, because we have open circles at those points, we're using the less than sign. These kinds of points we would use less than or equal to, right, when they're closed. Alright, you're going to do problems 2 and 3 in the graph to the right. Remember that when we have dots, we don't write it like I just did. Remember, when we have dots, we're writing them in a list. Alright, example 1 in the next section. We are given y equals 2x minus 17. And we are told the domain. What we need to realize is that that means we're given x values. Okay, so if we wanted to think about this as a table, we could think, well, they gave us -3 and 1 and 11. What we need to do is find the range. I think the quickest and easiest way to do this is with my calculator. So I'm going to take that equation they gave me in y equals, I'm going to type it in my y equals. So 2x minus 17. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my table, right, that blue word table, so second graph. And I'm looking where x is -3. All right, when x is -3, y is -23. Okay, that's a 2, sorry. When x is 1, y is -15. And when y is 11, y is 5. So my range from least to greatest, we would say from -23 to -15 to 5. Go ahead and try problems 2 and 3 in Edpuzzle. Alright, the next section here is very similar to the one we just finished. We're given an equation and we're given a domain. This time our domain is written a little bit differently. You know what, before I even move on, let's just realize that my range is going to match the setup of my domain. So instead of saying x, I'm going to say y. I'm going to have that vertical line. I'm going to have the same symbols, but there's going to be a y. So what I need to do is find the y values that go with the numbers that I was given. So I'm going to make a table again. This time I was just given -2 and 8, right? X goes from -2 to 8. So those are the numbers that I'm writing in my table. Let's go to y equals and let's type in this new equation. This new equation is -x plus 5. So -x plus 5. And I'm going to go to my table, so second graph. And I'm looking for when x is -2. Alright, when x is -2, y is 7. And when x is 8, it looks like y is -3. Okay? Now, the only tricky thing here is we always write our domain and range from least to greatest. So even though 2 went with 7, -2 went with 7, we're not going to write it there. We're going to go from least to greatest. So I'm going to say -3 to +7. All right? And that would be my range. Follow my example and try problems number 2 and 3 over to the right. All right, for this section, situational graphs, we're looking at this graph on your paper. Now here's the situation. Shannon is driving to the mall. The graph below shows Shannon's distance from her house as a function of time, right? Time in minutes is passing, and the distance in miles is shown over here. Now, I'm going to answer all of these questions, 1, 2, 3, and then you guys are going to choose the best explanation for what's happening in this graph, as well as other questions in Edpuzzle. All right. Based on the graph, when was Shannon driving the fastest? Well, the fastest would be the steepest line. So this section right here is the steepest section of the graph. And I know that because in only 3 seconds, she goes 4 miles, right? Whereas in this section, in 4 seconds, she goes 4 miles. So this first section is faster. So we're going to say from 0 to 3 minutes. All right? Question 2, what did Shannon do during the time between 3 to 6 minutes? So in other words, what's happening right here? The two best options you're going to see are probably going to be either she's stopped or standing still, or she's driving at a constant speed. And the way that you're going to determine which is by looking at your labels here. This is saying time and distance. So if time is passing, but her distance is remaining the same at 4, okay, time is passing, but her distance is staying the same, that means that she is stopped. All right, maybe she hit a stoplight or something. All right, she stopped. Time is passing, but she is not moving. She has stopped. How many miles has Shannon driven after 9 minutes? Well, here's 9 minutes. Here's my dot on the graph, which means 7 miles. All right, look for the next questions in Edpuzzle. All right, topic 3, we're talking about functions. We got a couple of different things we're doing here. Let's look at this first example. We're given f of x equals -4 plus 2x, and we're asked to find f of 6. All right, well, think about what just happened here. So, I'm having problems. All right, we have f of x, and then they want us to find f of 6. Well, can you kind of tell that the x became a 6? So on the right side of the equation, the same thing needs to happen. We need to put the x needs to change to a 6. All right, and we can just calculate this. We just kind of clean it up. So -4 plus 12. So my answer, -4 plus 12, is 8. All right, excuse the bell. Go ahead and try questions 2 and 3 in Edpuzzle. Remember, you're just plugging in the number they give you in the parentheses. All right, second part of this section is talking about which of the following represents y as a function of x. These questions are just asking, is it a function? That's all we're really asking here. Is it a function? This first one is a no, because it does not pass the vertical line test, right? A vertical line touches twice. This one, since none of these vertical lines, right, no vertical line would touch twice, this one we would say yes, this is a function. Go ahead and try example 2 over in Edpuzzle. All right, topic 4, simplifying radical expressions. Now, it has been a while since we've done these, so let's just kind of refresh our memory here. All right, we're looking at example 1, and we need to remember that we don't want decimals for answers here. We just want to simplify. And the way that we simplify is by making factor trees. So 2 factors that multiply and get 72. I'm going to choose 8 and 9. And we're going to keep going until our tree would have no more branches. For example, 2, I'm going to circle, because the only branches would be 1 and 2, and I could do that forever, which is just not a good idea, so we stop when it's prime. 4 has 2 and 2, and again, the 2's get circled. 9 has 3 and 3. Those get circled. So I'm going to rewrite the square root of 72 as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Right? All of these circled numbers are the numbers that go in your square root. And now we're looking for pairs of numbers. In my class, we say you got to have a date to leave the house. So we got a pair of 2's that are going to leave, but we only write the number outside once. All right, I also have a pair of 3's. So that 3 gets to leave. And if you bring out more than one number, we're going to multiply those outside. So we got 6 on the outside, and 2 had to stay on the inside because 2 didn't have a date, right? You just had a single 2 left over. And this would be my answer. Now always check these answers because they're so easy to check. We're just going to type in the square root of 72, my initial number. We're going to look at that decimal. All right, it's pretty crazy. Now type in what we got, 6 square root of 2, and make sure that the decimals match, and they do, so we know we're correct. All right, go ahead and try question or practice 2 in Edpuzzle. All right, example 1. Now we've got 2 of these. Remember, the rule is if we're going to add radicals, right, if we're going to add square roots, the numbers inside need to be matching. So I need a 3 and a 3 or a 48 and a 48. So I can't add these like they are. So we go ahead and we check them to see if there's anything we can do. So I'm going to simplify this 48. I'm going to do 4 times 12, 2 times 2, let's see, 3 times 4, and 2 times 2. All right, no more branches to make, so I'm good. Now the 5 was already there. We've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, right? 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. I need another 2. Let's erase this. 2 times 3. All right, so we're going to simplify like we practiced before. Okay, I got a pair of 2s. 2s can leave. Got another pair of 2s. They can leave. 3 stays left over. Anything outside gets multiplied, even that 5 that was already there. So 2 times 2 times 5 is 20, square root of 3. Now we already had this one that was just there. Okay, the 7 plus 7 square root of 3. So we're going to try and add plus 7 square root of 3. Well, now these numbers inside are matching, so I'm allowed to add them up, right? And it's going to stay square root of 3. Think about it. I did so much work to make them match. They're going to stay matching after I add them. We're going to add up the outsides. 20 plus 7 is just 27. And that's my answer. Again, this is definitely something you could always be checking because it's super quick and simple. We've got 5 square root of 48 plus 7 square root of 3. And we get this decimal. All right, and then we check our answer, 27 square root of 3, and we should get the same crazy decimal, and we do, so we know we're right. Try the second example over there in Edpuzzle. All right, example number 1 of this next section is very similar to what we just did, only now we're subtracting. So I've got 12 square root of 5, and 5 is prime, nothing I can do with the 5. But the 125 I can work with. So let's see if we can get this simplified. 125 is 25 times 5. 5 is prime, so I circle it. We got 5 and 5 over here. Okay, so now the 2 is already there, and I've got 5 and 5 and 5. Well, I've got a pair of 5s I can bring out to the outside. So now I've got 10 square root of 5. Now don't forget that this was already in the front there, so we had 12 square root of 5, and we're trying to subtract 10 square root of 5. Okay, this turned into this, right? We simplified. Now we can add because our numbers inside are matching. Our radicand numbers are matching. So they're going to stay 5s, and we're going to subtract 12 minus 10 and get 2 square root of 5. Let's check our answer here real quick. We got 12 square root of 5. And then we are subtracting 2 square root of 125. And we get, oops, I typed that in wrong. Let's fix that. All right, so this is the decimal that we get. And let's check our answer. We got 2 square root of 5. And those decimals match, so we're good to go. All right, next section, after you do your Edpuzzle question. All right, linear equations. We're going to start with this first example. Write an equation that passes through the point -1, 4, which is right here, and that is parallel to the x-axis. All right, well, here's the x-axis. It's horizontal, so my line that I want must be also horizontal if it's going to be parallel to that. So what's the equation of this line? Let's try and remember the trick here to remember hoi vux, which means that horizontal lines have a zero slope and it's y equals. And I do have a horizontal line. So it's going to be y equals, well, what is y up here? Y is 4, right? Y is equal to 4. Try the next problem on the right on your own, answer an Edpuzzle. All right. The total amount of your paycheck varies directly with the number of hours you work. If you make $64.75 for 7 hours of work, how many hours do you need to work to make $185? All right, well, hopefully we remember that varies directly means proportional. Guys, you can just set up a quick proportion for this. Actually, I think a lot of us can probably just figure this out in a variety of ways, but I'm going to say, okay, $64.75 in 7 hours is going to be proportional to how much I make, how many hours I work if I make $185. So I'm just going to say hours. All right, so remember, stay consistent. I had money on the bottom, hours on the top, money on the bottom, hours on the top. All right, and now I'm just going to cross multiply and solve. So we've got 64.75h is equal to 7 times 185, which is $12.95. All right, I'm going to divide by 64.75. And I've got the number of hours I need is, let's see here, divide by 64.75, 20 hours. All right, so 20 hours is my answer. All right, go ahead and try the next problem over on the right in Edpuzzle. Remember, varies directly means you can solve it with a proportion. All right, example number 1 here. What is the 27th term of the sequence shown below? If we're trying to predict terms, I need an equation because I'm not going to sit here and write out until the 27th term. All right, ain't nobody got time for that. So we're going to make an equation, get an equation for this thing. Remember, we can do that by making a table. So first term is 17, second term is 14, third term is 11, fourth term is 8, and I'm going to use stat edit. Here we go. So we got stat edits. 1, 2, 3, 4 for my x's, right? Because the first term, second term, third term, fourth term. And my y's, I've got 17 and 14 and 11 and 8. All right, I'm going to go to stat calc. Remember option 4 because we're doing lines, linear, and enter. Okay, so my equation I'm going to use negative 3 plus 20. So y equals negative 3x plus 20. If we wanted to use notation for sequences, we'd say this, negative 3n plus 20. But we're trying to predict something. So 27th term, all I'm going to do is plug in 27 for n, and I'm going to get my answer. So negative 3 times 27, because they asked me for the 27th term, plus 20, and this is going to give me my answer, which is negative 61. All right, try your problem over on the right in Edpuzzle. All right, next example. What is the slope of the line represented by 3x minus 8y equals 16? Guys, we should be pros at this, right? We should be pros at this. So 3x minus 8y equals 16. I don't know what the slope is yet. I need y by itself. So I'm going to do that by first getting rid of the x. So now I've got negative 8y equals 16 minus 3x. And I'm going to divide by negative 8. So I've got y equals negative 2. Negative divided by negative gives me a positive 3 over 8x. So my slope is a number with x, which is 3 over 8. Try your example over on the side of Edpuzzle. All right, I believe this is the last page. Yay! Here we go. Write the equation for the line of best fit. You guys have a scatter plot, so you need to make a quick table. So we got negative 2, 1, got negative 1, 0, got 0, 1, and 1, negative 1, and 3, negative 2. That's a 0. It looks like a 6. So I'm going to do stat edits to get my equation. That's all I got to do. So stat edits. Here we go. I'm going to go clear this out. I've got negative 2 and negative 1 and 0 and 1 and 3. And on the right, I've got 1 and 0 and 1 and negative 1 and negative 2. All right, I got my scatter plot. Now I can go stat calc, option 4. And we've got our equation. Just give me a couple decimal places here. My y, I'm going to say negative 0.59. And then my, oh, don't forget x. I almost did. And then my y-intercept is going to be negative 0.08, minus 0.08. All right, your calculator does this one for you. All you got to do is make a table. All right, next question. What is the effect on f of x equals f if g of x equals f of x plus 6? Honestly, guys, you're just supposed to know since the 6 is at the end, where the y-intercept usually is, that it's messing with our y-intercepts. So plus 6 moves us up 6. Moves up 6. So another word for moves would be shifts or translates up 6. Now your number is 4 and it's in front, so be careful when you choose your next answer not to just do exactly what I did, but to kind of remember the idea here. Try it in Edpuzzle. All right, next one, write the equation of a line. You could totally find the equation by hand, but I'm going to use stat edit because it's quick and easy and I know I'll get it right. All right, here we go. Do the next one, clear it out. All right, so we got 0 and 3 and 6 for my x's. And for my y's, I've got 6 and 0 and negative 6. Okay, we're going to do stat edit, stat calc, linear equation, and we get y equals negative 2x plus 6. All right, now yours is phrased a little differently, but same skills are involved. Go ahead and answer question number 2 in Edpuzzle. All right, find the slope of the line. This should be quick and easy, hopefully. Just find 2 good points that you like. I like this one and this one. Remember, slope is rise over run. All right, so I'm going to go down 1. So I'm going to put a negative 1 and right 2. That is my slope, negative 1 over 2. Answer your next question in Edpuzzle. All right, example 1. Write the equation of a line parallel to the graph shown, passing through the point negative 1, 4. All right, so my new line needs to go negative 1, 4. Well, if it needs to be parallel, it kind of needs to look like this, right? But we probably want to draw it better than that so we can get a good equation. I don't know, that looks pretty good. Let's see here. My new equation is going to be y equals, well, I know it has to have the same slope because it's going to be parallel. So this slope is down 2 over 1. So my slope is going to be the same, negative 2x. So if I use that, I can graph my new line, which if I cross those points here, looks like this. There's my y-intercept at 2, so negative 2x plus 2. All right, if you just graph a parallel line, even if you just eyeballed it, right, to something that looks parallel through that point they give you, you should be okay. Go ahead and try problem number 2 in Edpuzzle. All right, last but not least, guys, remember that if you do need help with this, if you do need this reset, you can email us and we can reset your progress so you can try them again. This is a really very good review for your final exam. Good luck.